Chapter 16. As I've said, law number 1 in my book of laws is thou shalt never ever partake of Java Heaven coffee. The recent amendment to that rule is, nor shall thou partake of anything from Java Heaven, be it a beverage, a food product, or the owner's daughter. In world mythology, I shunned Vincent and took the desk next to Elliot, dreading the moment when Mr. Williams would call on me to read my good deed story. And he would call on me, because he'd given me the eager eye when I had walked into class. But first he made us sit through 3 other stories that had the following things in common. Each story had been written by a girl, each story was about Vincent, and each story made me sick. Isabel read, "It was a dark and stormy morning when the accident occurred. Fate looked down from his throne in the sky and said, 'I choose that man to die today.' Little did Fate know that Vincent Hawke was in the neighborhood." Oh, please. Ashley read, "Rain pounded against Vincent's face as he shouted, 'As God is my witness, I will not let this man die!' Give me a break." Chloe read, "Vincent didn't think about his own safety. I mean, what if the man had collapsed from bird flu? Vincent risked his own life in order to save another." Whatever. They read, they blushed, they smiled at Vincent. He soaked up the adoration in his button-down shirt and jeans. The perfect hero, maybe, but not the perfect friend. Enough with the whole good deed thing. Could we just move on? "Katrina," Mr. Williams called. "Do you have a oh my God. Do you have a story to share?" "I didn't write about Vincent saving that guy." "I didn't expect you to write about Vincent. I'm sure I speak for the entire class when I say I'd like to hear something about your good deed, the one your visitor referred to on Monday." "I didn't write about that either." A few people groaned. "I made something up." "Oh." Mr. Williams frowned and tapped his fingers on his desk. "Well, let's hear it anyway." I shouldn't have read it out loud because I wrote the story in a fit of anger while Elizabeth drove me to school. It's never a good idea to read something aloud that you wrote in a fit of anger. I'd never been mad at Vincent before. Well, just over little things, like the time he had dumped his clarinet spit all over my shoe in 6th grade band practice, and the time he had purposefully tipped the canoe because he knew murky water freaked me out. Little things. Boy things. Things that didn't matter. I stole a glance at him sitting over there, all dressed up. He had chosen Heidi's feelings over mine. "Please stand so we can all hear," Mr. Williams said. "There once lived a girl who was a potato farmer," I read. More students groaned. Some fell back in their seats. No one cared, now that it wasn't the story about me and Skirt Guy. I continued. "She worked very hard every day digging her potatoes. On the weekend she took the potatoes to market and sold them, and everything was fine. But then a man bought the land next door and planted potatoes, and come summer he bought a brand new tractor so he could dig potatoes faster, and because he dug faster, he was able to take double the amount of potatoes to market, and because he put them in fancy bags with fancy organic labels, the townspeople started buying his potatoes instead of hers." I didn't look up. I didn't care if they were bored out of their minds. This story had a point, and I was going to make it. The girl was desperate. Selling potatoes was her only way to earn money, and the potato festival was in a few days, the biggest sales day of the year. So she asked her best friend if he would help her dig so she could try to get the most potatoes to the festival, and the friend said, "Of course I'll help you, because that's what best friends do." The next day, the girl got up early and started digging, but where was her friend? I took a dramatic pause. Someone sneezed. The roar of a tractor's engine approached. She looked up from her digging and saw that her friend was driving the neighbor's tractor in the neighbor's field. She was shocked. "Why are you driving that tractor?" she asked. "You know it belongs to my neighbor, and he is stealing all my business." And then her friend said, "I'm driving it because your neighbor asked me to drive it." And the girl said, "So? You're supposed to be helping me get ready for the festival today. I need you." And the friend said, "But you never said that today was the day that you needed my help, and I really, really like this tractor because it's pretty, and I don't want to hurt your neighbor's feelings by not driving it." And the girl said, "Whatever! Be that way, you traitor!" I sat down. No one applauded or anything. Mr. Williams scratched his head. Katrina, is that it? Where's the good deed?" I folded my arms. There is no good deed. That's the point. There could have been a good deed, but because the friend was a total jerk, he missed the opportunity to do a good deed. But what's the moral? The moral is that sometimes you have to help your friends even if there are other things you'd rather be doing. I smirked, confident that I had made my point. I felt righteous, sitting upon my wave of truth. Vincent cleared his throat. "Maybe the moral is that she shouldn't rely on her friend for everything. Maybe she should figure out how to save her potato business on her own. Maybe she should get a life." When waves break, they can really crush a swimmer, especially if they're carrying bits of broken shells and rocks, especially if they're carrying hurt feelings. I didn't go to the rest of my morning classes. As soon as the bell rang, I fled world mythology. Mr. Prince had filled the hallway display case with Heidi's accomplishments. How to get into an Ivy League. I caught my reflection as I hurried past, ghost-like, with long blonde hair and pale eyes. I swear to God it whispered, "Get a life." I didn't care that Elizabeth's car was covered with frost. I yanked the hide key off the back tire, climbed inside, and settled in for a long sulk. When someone tells you to get a life, what that person is actually saying is, "Your concerns are stupid. They are trivial and beneath me." That's a really mean thing to say to a friend. That Beatles song ran through my head. I get by with a little help from my friends. Without Vincent, there was only Elizabeth. When had I stopped making friends? When had I decided that two were plenty? Time passed. I did nothing, which is the truth, because sulking is as close to nothing as a person can get. If you ever want to waste time, and I mean waste it in a way that adds not a drop of meaning to your life, anyone else's life, or the universe itself, then sulking is your answer. I got hungry. I slid down the seat until the parking lot disappeared, and all I could see was Elizabeth's glove box. I reached in and grabbed a pack of Hostess ding-dongs. How long would it take me to freeze to death? The driver's door swung open. Elizabeth threw herself into the car, slammed the door, then slid down next to me. "I'm glad you're out here. I can't take that sweaty cafeteria today. Why are you hiding?" "I don't want to see Vincent." "Why are you hiding?" "I don't want to see Face." I asked him. "You did?" He said he needed to think about it. "Oh," I tore open the ding-dong's wrapper with my teeth. Elizabeth clutched the steering wheel. "That's not bad, is it? I mean, if he didn't want to go with me, then he would have said I can't or something. But if he wanted to go with me, he would have said yes." Her knuckles turned white. "Oh, God, he's gonna say no, isn't he? This is totally embarrassing. He's gonna make me wait and then reject me. I wore these boring clothes for nothing. I hate him." "Maybe you just surprised him." "Maybe." She reached over and snagged a ding-dong. "How long do you think he'll think about it? Should I ask him how long he's gonna take? Oh my God, that would look so desperate." I had no insights to offer Elizabeth. Face was as alien to me as any other guy at Nordby High, including, it turned out, Vincent. "He thinks I'm fat." "Elizabeth, forget him. I'm not going to sit around and wait for him to reject me." She finished the gooey cake in 2 bites. "I'm going to send him a note telling him that I've made other plans. That'll teach him to make me wait." She smacked her hand on the steering wheel. Then she squealed. A face peered down at us through the windshield. We sat up. Malcolm settled on the car's hood, crisscrossed, his satchel resting between his legs. The golden letters of messenger service sparkled. Elizabeth stuck her key in the ignition so she could roll down the window. She leaned out. "Hey, will you deliver a message for me? I want it delivered to this guy at school. Have it say, 'Dear David, I regret to inform you that while waiting for your reply to my kind invitation, I received another offer, which I accepted. Regrettably, no. Yours truly, no. Sincerely, Elizabeth Miller.' Can you do that? Like right now?" "I can't do that, I'm afraid. The only messages I'm allowed to deliver are sent directly from my employer." "I'll pay cash. You won't have to tell your boss." "I'm afraid that is against the rules." Malcolm tilted his head and looked at me, his expression dead serious. "Why didn't you eat the second bean?" Though the windshield muffled his voice, his question slipped right into my ear. It tickled. "How does he know that?" Elizabeth whispered. No way could he have actually known that I hadn't eaten the second bean. Even if he'd been spying through the front window at the coffeehouse, he couldn't have seen Ratcatcher. She'd been in the kitchen when she devoured the bean. He was bluffing, playing at his weird game. I rolled down the passenger window and leaned out. "What makes you think I didn't eat it?" "I'll show you."